For God to do something about suffering, he had to suffer. He had to get tangled up in the pain that we have to endure. Suffer the suffering to the nth degree, so that no suffering that we could ever suffer would be greater than his. You see, if you can't suffer the greatest suffering and be victorious in the midst of that suffering, then God hasn't got anything to offer to us. But because he did suffer to the nth degree and was victorious, everything that we suffer is under that canopy. That makes sense? Yeah. And so there's nothing that can totally destroy us. This is a totally shocking resolution to the problem of pain. If we had our way, we'd want the world full of butterflies, and we would sort out suffering that way. But when God saw the suffering that we were going through, his only resolution was to take his child and to sacrifice his child that we could know. Who would have thought God's saving power would look like this, says the Bible. Jesus was looked down on and passed over, a man who suffered, who knew pain firsthand. One look at him and people turned away. We looked down on him, we thought he was scum. But in fact, the fact is, it was our pains he carried, our disfigurements, all the things wrong with us. We thought he brought it on himself, that God was punishing him for his own failures. But it was our sins that did that to him, that ripped and tore and crushed him. Our sins. He took the punishment that made us whole, and through his bruises we are healed. When you're falsely accused and suffering unjustly, friends, look to Jesus. Don't wave your fist at him. If you've lost a child or a precious loved one, so hurtful, so painful, look to the cross, because in the cross you see, you don't see the death of a child and a loved one, but you see the grief that it caused to his father, the same grief as you suffer. Judgment fell on Christ that wasn't deserved. And this was a sign of both divine sorrow and divine justice. If you're tired of shouting why to God, look at the cross and hear that very same question from the lips of Jesus. Why? Why have you abandoned me? That's what Jesus asked on the cross. Jesus suffered everything that we have ever suffered and more. Why is there suffering and evil in the world?